Hey you guys, Heather here from Cash Flowing Life, and this video is the demonstration video for my budget, which is the ditching debt budget for those of you who are working the Dave Ramsey baby steps and really trying to tackle debt. This budget will also work for someone who is debt free. You will just be having the monthly budget here, and if you don't have any debt, you would just leave these blank. But ideally, this is for someone who's working the baby steps, working on paying off their debt, and wants to track the numbers in a very structured and detailed manner. So just like with all of my budgets, when you get them, you're going to have a master template, which is this one right here. You're going to have an example template of how to fill out the form. And then there is another template here that you can basically run your numbers off of and use it as your monthly budget. I recommend keeping the master copy available and really clean just in case the formula gets messed up. You can always just do a duplicate form from the master copy, and then you'll be good to go. One thing I want to point out about pretty much any template that you purchase from me, within the template, you can always make a duplicate of the template that you're working off of. So let's take a look at the example template. So say this month is January 2019, and this is your budget, and not a whole lot has changed in the form of income or your expenses. You don't have to create a whole new budget and recalculate everything. You can actually just take this budget right here, make a duplicate, and then rename the month here. So we could call this a February budget if we wanted to. And then you could just go into your budget here and slightly adjust the income, adjust your monthly expenses. You can adjust your budget, your debt. So you don't have to recreate the same budget over and over again by typing in all of your expenses. Just make a duplicate off of the current budget that you're on for your new month. So I'll just do a quick rundown of this budget template. So right up here you have the income. If you need extra lines, just come over here and do a add row. You can do above or below. And then it's going to continue to calculate each row down here into the total column. Same thing, you can do that with the monthly expenses. With the cash envelopes, these are all kind of like the same thing. They all total, give you a remaining income total down here. And you can do the same thing with the debts. So you can add rows above or below, or you can delete them as you get debts paid off, and then it will automatically calculate the correct total debt payoff right here. Same thing with the emergency funds. You can always add rows down here. And then, of course, if you want to get really nerdy with your budget and you want to look at your percentages of income, it's going to calculate what percentage of income is coming from where within the total income, whether you are under or over in your projections from your budget versus your actuals. And then all the same thing happens down here in the expenses. So you can look and see if you are within Dave Ramsey's parameters of the 25% of your take-home pay going to the mortgage. You can check your over and under balances if that's something that you're interested in looking at. And then if you want to separate your expenses by regular monthly expenses or cash envelopes, you can do that as well. I just like having a separate visual right here so I can see the areas that I have to take cash out for and then which expenses are coming out of our bank account directly. So you can choose whatever is appropriate for your household. And then for the debt column down here, I feel like this is where I get a lot of questions. So your budget for your debt is basically going to be your minimum payment for that debt or that balance. And then your actual will be what you actually ended up throwing towards that payment. So if you're working your debt smallest to largest, you're going to have your smallest debt right up here, and then they'll slowly get bigger all the way down. So your largest debt is going to be right down here. So your budget is going to be the regular monthly payment that you have going towards that debt. And then the actual is going to be right up here. So whichever expense or debt that you are throwing the money at, your actual is going to be way more than your budget right here. You can calculate the interest rate on here. So it can give you the beginning of the month balance and calculate the end of the month balance. And most importantly, it's going to calculate your interest charges. Now, I'll say when I was getting out of debt, I didn't go super crazy with all of these categories. I just really wanted to track what my expense was for my minimum payment and how much I was actually throwing towards debt. So if you feel like you don't want to use these extra columns and it's just too much information for you, that's totally fine. You don't have to fill it out. It's not going to change the way that this template works. And then last is your sinking funds category. If you want to do sinking funds, this is here for you. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. My husband and I, with the baby step that we're on, we don't necessarily do sinking funds to a large extent. We always do a just general savings payment every month. And then when something comes up that maybe it's a little bit too expensive to actually cash flow in whatever month we're in, then we'll kind of consider taking some money out of savings. If you're in a position where you feel like sinking funds are appropriate for your family, this is a great category to use. If not, if you just end up leaving this blank, it's not going to affect the budget at all. If you just happen to run across this budget demo over on YouTube, this budget is available for purchase in my Etsy shop called Cash Flowing Life. And if it's something that you're interested in purchasing, I can leave a link in the description box down below so you can check this out and some of the other products that I have available in my Etsy shop to help you ditch your debt.